No matter how hard we try or how much we learn, humans are imperfect and therefore prone to error. Although we may strive to avoid it, we will make mistakes. We can only hope and pray that they won't be as big as the following 10 most expensive mistakes in all of history.
Brilliant news!
Number 1. Millennium Bridge. This pedestrian bridge in London was supposed to be a symbol of modern design and engineering. Shortly after opening, it had to be closed because the bridge began swaying rather violently as people crossed over it. They later found that the engineers responsible had failed to take into account the sideways motion that people create as they walk. It took 2 years and 91 dampers and $6 million to correct the mistake. Number 2. Fat and Furious. French rail company SNCF decided to invest $20 billion on 2,000 bigger and faster TGV trains. Unfortunately, they didn't think to measure the train stations before buying the trains, and they later found that they wouldn't fit. SNCF therefore had to invest another $55 million to upgrade the stations to accommodate the new trains. Number 3. Rena. In 2011, due to a massive navigation error, this 774-foot container ship ran aground on the Astrolabe Reef near New Zealand. The result was the sinking of the ship, the loss of over 1,000 containers, and a 3.1-mile oil slick on the Mount Maunganui shoreline. Number 4. Imperial Era. In 1998, NASA launched a $125 million satellite called the Mars Climate Orbiter. But after 9 months of travel, instead of entering in orbit around Mars, the satellite entered Mars's atmosphere and burnt up. NASA didn't know why until they found out that the Jet Propulsion Laboratory was using the accurate metric measurement of Newton seconds, whereas Lockheed Martin Astronautics in Denver was using the primitive imperial measurement, and they failed to do the conversions. Number 5. Block Blunder. In the early 2000s, Netflix was a DVD by mail service, and it wasn't doing too well. They tried on several occasions to get Blockbuster to buy them for $50 million. Blockbuster failed to see the way the market was turning and passed up on the deal. If we take into account what Netflix is currently worth, Blockbuster's mistake cost them nearly $20 billion. Number 6. Lost coins. James Howells is an IT worker from Newport, South Wales. Back in 2009, James mined 7,500 bitcoins. He later sold his computer but kept the hard drive just in case the coins grew in value. Unfortunately, in 2013, he threw the hard drive in the trash whilst cleaning his house. The hard drive is currently at a landfill under who knows how much rubbish. What we do know is that 7,500 bitcoins are currently worth around $75 million. Number 7. Smashed guitar. In Quentin Tarantino's film The Hateful Eight, an old guitar was required for a scene, so they borrowed a one-of-a-kind Martin guitar from 1870 from the Martin Museum. They had 6 replicas made for a scene where Kurt Russell has to smash it against a pillar, but they forgot to tell him. Kurt proceeded to smash the original against the pillar, thus destroying a guitar that had been successfully preserved for 145 years. Number 8. B-2 Bomber. In 2008 at Anderson Air Force Base, a B-2 bomber prepared for a routine takeoff. After gaining a little altitude, both pilots ejected and the $1.4 billion plane crashed back down to Earth. This was caused by moisture getting into an air data sensor, which then gave erroneous data, which caused the plane to pitch up suddenly. It then stalled and crashed and became a very expensive fireball. Number 9. Star Wars toys. Before Star Wars became a thing, George Lucas was trying to pitch it to 20th Century Fox. They weren't too keen on the idea of the films, so George decided to sweeten the deal by signing over all merchandising rights. This may have seemed a good idea at the time, but by 1978, merchandising was generating $100 million, and nowadays it's into the billions. Number 10. Typo. A typo normally isn't a problem, but in 2005 on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, stockbroker caused a company called Mizuho to lose $225 million. How? Well, instead of selling one share for 610,000 yen, he sold 610,000 shares at 1 yen. This error caused a 1.95% fall in the benchmark Nikkei 225 index and a massive confidence loss in the Japanese market. What's the most expensive mistake you've ever made? Comment below.